Hey guys, hello there. This is Tracilyn, and guess what? I'm also known as VCat. I prefer to be called Tracilyn. It's something I picked up after Las Vegas because I used to dress in a cat costume. I'm going to take a little bit of time just to show you quick the last home I lived in before I moved out of Pennsylvania right around 2009 and relocated out to Dayton, Ohio. North Dayton, also known as Huber Heights. We are in a place called Cleona, Pennsylvania. And the history of this place is pretty decent because the people who owned the property at the time, it was a doctor and his wife. And the home that I lived in was actually a barn at one time. So this building is actually over 100 years old at the time I had it. So in the bottom, here's a garage, and then a couple storage rooms, and then a flight of steps that went up, which used to be kind of like a hayloft. And it had it looked like cathedral ceilings in it. And all it was like a living room area with a small kitchen, and then my bathroom and walk-in closet. Very small place. I used to lay out on the roof. So I'm just going to show you, and then I'm going to head out, go somewhere else. Dude. What's up? Some of you may have saw my video or photos that I have on my other YouTube page. I did a photo shoot when I first came out on the hood of my car in there. Put dents on it. I gotta talk about that a little bit. And I also have some photos of this alleyway with me. Where that air conditioner is, right up there, that's basically the living room. I used to have my car parked in the garage, and then back here I had my cargo van, which I use for all my shows. And there was the entrance. And then here comes somebody already. The backyard, which used to be a fenced-in area, of course, where I used to let my dog hang out. Hey guys, it is me. I'm up here just north of Lickdale in a mountain where I used to pace back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Did I say I used to pace back and forth? See? I don't know what the main highway is here, but I do know at one time, or when you drive south, it eventually turns into Route 72. And we used to share many days cruising up and down this interstate, or highway, or route, state road. See the double lines? That's a state road in the state of Pennsylvania. Before they blocked it off and made a new roadway up above. Or they made a new roadway above and then they blocked it off. Makes sense, right? Alright, so I was showing you the last apartment that I had before I relocated out to Ohio. I don't want to talk about too much after 2009. So I'm hoping I have time to take you somewhere special, to the place that started the relocation process in 2009. Tragedy that shook me up pretty bad. For now, I've been sharing how I've been struggling throughout my whole life journey with my sexuality, my gender issues. How about this? Let's keep it simple. Being Tracilyn. In a world that did everything possible to keep me from being me. Or so I perceived it that way. Didn't know how to fit in throughout my life growing up. So I'm going to stay straight and to the point because I already shared my whole entire life journey up until about 2006. I mentioned about my music career and things that I was dealing with there. I started meeting guys in the music business that were very attracted to me. I didn't know how to take that, to be honest with you, and the last thing I wanted was for that information to get out. So a quick rundown, and then right back up here we will go to that house. I was always drawn to wanting to look like a girl, to be the girl, whether it was movies, television shows, or what have you. Pictures in television guide, magazines. As I got older, started being adult films. When the internet came to place, of course, just like anyone else, I started surfing around. Sometimes things would pop up, sometimes not. I was always warned, don't go on to the adult film site. Stay away from that. But I was curious, very curious, and I stumbled across transsexuals, she-males, ladyboys, sissies in dresses. Scratching my head like a monkey, trying to figure all this out. Are they really born that way? What's going on? You know, because I felt very much so. This was something that was within myself. My younger years, I was very attracted at a very young age to people like my uncle, family members, other men. Not necessarily at that time intimately. That began to manifest as I stepped and started approaching right around 4th grade. I started to find adult toys and lingerie laying around the house. Of course, I cleaned everything up and I used it for myself. I had a lot of struggles as I stepped into my teen years because now I'm stepping into puberty. And I gotta be honest with you, I did not at all appreciate that process. You know, I mentioned about wetting my pants, my zipper pants, when I lived on Cumberland Street. I remember the day right around that time when I struck puberty, and one day I was completely bald, and the next day I had 2 long hairs, okay, in my private area. And I didn't know how to talk about this with other people, I really didn't. And my mom was very open. There's no reason why I shouldn't have been able to talk to her. But rest assured, if at any time that I did, more than likely she would probably laugh at me or laugh with me, you know, through the process. But that time I didn't want anybody to laugh, whether they were with me or against me. I didn't want them to laugh. I didn't understand, why is this bothering me so strongly? You know, even things, this may not be appreciated depending on the age, but even things with being aroused early in the morning, which happens a lot more with boys, you know, at a young age. I didn't understand why this was happening. I didn't like it. It was very uncomfortable to me. Friends that I was close to, family members, things started to happen because we're hanging out together. We're getting, we're getting kind of excited. Things happen, happen to me. I'm fighting with the fact, why are people attracted to me, guys, throughout my life. When I hit right around 15, 13 years old, and we started living in London Village, I used to go visit when my friends would move out of London Village, my older friends. I would take time to go and visit them across town. Well, one thing is I would park my bike, and sometimes we would go walking around their neighborhoods together, and I felt safe with them. They ain't gonna let nothing happen to me. They aren't going to let anything happen to me while I'm in their presence. Always felt safe. Maybe that's why I hung with the older crowd, part of it. But I was always the baby in my family. As I drove through the city while working on this project, can I tell you, things start to happen in your memory. You start remembering things. And can I tell you, I remember dressing at that time. I think I told you when I was living on Lafayette Street, and this is bouncy ball moments until I get to 2006. But the first time I wore shorts was on Lafayette Street, very tight, and I put them on underneath my jeans. I ran down onto my bicycle. I ran around the neighborhood. I was so scared that people were going to recognize that I had shorts on. And I quick went back into my house, and to me that was a nightmare. Very terrified to do that. Now I'm starting to get a little more comfortable, and by the time I'm in my teen years, Now I'm wearing my shorts, I'm tanning a little bit more, you know. And I remember late at night, like I told you, there was a circuit and stuff. I took note that a lot of times, because of the way I used to carry myself, I guess you could say, I was very femme in appearance. And I would notice older guys, and I mean older guys, like probably, you guys might, I hope this doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, but for a teenager, these guys are in their 60s and 70s, okay? And they're driving around and they're beeping their horn and making passes at me. And at one time I saw another teenager from my school that was just like a grade or two higher than mine. And I saw he'd be hanging out with these guys. So guess what? While my older friend was up in his apartment, late at night, like around midnight, 1 o'clock, I would still be up, probably drunk, and I would stagger around the block, just close to the house in case I had to run. And I would flirt with these guys. So much that one of the things that anybody knows me, I love to flash my butt, you know, whether I have clothes on or not. And I remember being on his porch posing for these guys as they were driving by. You know, basically, look at me. I'm here for you. Teasing them. And they would drive back around. This would happen on a regular basis, actually, believe it or not. Up to the point to where they actually pulled over and motioned for me to come over to talk to them. And of course, I was always too scared, even though I wanted to. I wanted to get in the car with them. I was really, really scared to do that. And none of my other guy friends and stuff probably even knew this until now. It's starting to rain here a little bit, unfortunately. So I'm going to stay underneath this tree. But you want to know something? There was also a phone booth right on the corner of, I think it's the 8th and Wideman Street. But there's different phone booths back in the day. That, you know, you could drop in a dime or a quarter or what have you, and you could make collect calls back to your home because we didn't have cell phones. And these guys would actually know, you know, a bunch of people would know the different numbers because instead of you calling out, it was very popular for us without phones that we could wait by a phone booth and say, hey, call me at this phone booth. Call me on 8th and Wideman. Call me on Cherry Street. You know, Cherry Street and 7th or 7th and Cherry Street. Remember, numbers go first. So these guys would actually, they were somewhere nearby and they would end up noticing that you were by that phone booth. So I caught wind of this one day when I was walking with friends and the phone rang and we picked it up. It was a natural response for the children to run over, pick up the phone and see who it was. And usually it was what we considered at that time to be gay guys. And I used to go there late at night and I'd just wait by that phone. I knew if I would wait, they would somehow notice me and then call. And I would get into phone conversations with them. You know, all kinds of things we talked about, but inevitably they wanted me to go over to their house, go drinking, hang out, and I was always too scared, so I didn't do this. I didn't do it. Later on, as I got older, I remember I would work like a part-time job, whether it was a fast food chain at that time or if I was working for a masonry company. I don't remember where else I was working, but I know this was a second job for me. Because I had an apartment with the first girl I was dating, so understand this. And a lot of the stuff that I would talk to, even with her family, I couldn't really talk to people without them laughing at me and making it more of a joke. And I took this very serious because I really needed somebody in my life that would listen to me and help me figure this out. What am I doing wrong? Why am I attracted to this, but I don't want to cross a certain boundary with them? Why are they drawn to me? What is it? Obviously, I used to think it's my long hair. I never realized it was my overall femme features. Okay? So very girly I was. I say very femme spirit. And we all have a little bit of femininity in us, some more masculine and vice versa, or we can turn it on, turn it off. But we've been programmed in society that it's one way or the other depending on a body part, which is really sad now that I'm realizing all of this. So I got this job, and it was to go and mop up the floors, clean up after a bar room's closed. Okay, there was a certain one that was down there. I don't want to say the name, but it was right off of Cumberland Street. So with a history of my mother's boyfriend and stuff, my mom used to go to this bar and years, so I was excited. I want to go and help close down this bar room. I'm still a teenager and things, so I'm pretty excited about being a part of this. So I remember I went for the interview. He was a kind of bigger guy, you know, and I kind of noticed the way he was looking at me, like he was attracted to me. And can I say, usually I kind of tried to fight that off with the fact that in my head is maybe I'm just thinking that they're attracted to me. I could be absolutely wrong. So I didn't want to assume, even though I was a little aware. Looking back now, it was very obvious. And of course, I've learned to read body language quite well since those days. After we worked the one day, I noticed while we were cleaning out this bar, this was like the first time or second time that we were working on this, and there was a couple other people with, like a girl or another guy, so I felt kind of safe there, but he kind of pulled me down into the basement wherever he was doing something in the basement, restocking the refrigerator. He asked me if I would help him stock the refrigerator or the cooler with alcohol. It's coming back to me. And meanwhile, we got talking while we were kind of near the closet or basement door. He kind of pulled me aside and he asked me if I'd be interested in hanging out at his place after we get off work. Would I want a beer, or, you know, would I be interested in drinking? What kind do I like? And, you know, I'm thinking I've been drinking since I'm a child, basically. Sadly, but true. So why don't I drink with my boss? This is fun. This is great. This is a total different, and this was just a part-time job. It's not, to me, it was just a little extra money, so I didn't take it that serious, and I figured this guy has been so nice to me. I parked my car at his house. We get into his station wagon filled with cleaning supplies, and we go to this place. We clean up. He invites me back now to drink, and I'm thinking this will be fun. And can I tell you something? I was scared out of my wits when we got there. Because as we started driving there, he started mentioning about how he worked at adult stores, you know, off and on throughout his life. And he mentioned a couple situations that occurred. So he was starting to hint at me, and he would say sometimes people would go in the back, you know, maybe for $50 or $25, you know. He's kind of hinting around about this, that they were kind of what the world calls kind of prostitution, you know. Kind of given a visual show, if you will, for money, you know. Oral came into the picture, and can I tell you that I really wanted to do it, not only for the money, because I thought, you know, this will be great. It'll be a great opportunity for me to put gas in the car. It'll be a great opportunity for me to get clothing, whatever it was. And so I'm kind of like stepping back a little bit away from him in the car, meaning sliding over more towards the door. And I'm really thinking about this. I really, really, really need that money. You know, he offered me $50 if I would, you know, just basically please myself in front of him. All he wanted to do was watch. And I'm thinking, this seems kind of innocent. He's a really nice guy. What can I tell you? It got more into detail as time went on, and he invited me into the house. And the scary thing was, not only did he lock the front door, but he had a series of bolt locks. All kinds of locks. So there's like 3 to 5 locks on this door. And I'm kind of nervous about this. But still, I proceeded. Why did I do this? I don't know. Anything could have happened, obviously. So I end up going in, sitting down. He told me to sit down in the living room. And all of a sudden, he pulls up this box filled with adult movies. He pops one in. He says, "You don't mind we watch this, do you?" And he went out and he fixed me a drink in the kitchen. My senses kicked in, and I looked back and I saw him put something in my drink. What it was, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I have no idea, but I can rest assured that I was smart enough. I am not drinking this. And I got up and I told him, "You know what? I just remembered I got to get going. I was supposed to be home at a certain time, and if I'm not, you know, I got to take somebody somewhere, like to work or something." I made up an excuse. And I did it while he was in the kitchen. So I got up and I started nervously going towards the door. Note that I was watching this adult film, seeing that this stuff is going on, and I'm going towards that door that has all these locks, and I'm like, am I going to be able to figure this out? You know, and finally he shows up that quickly. You know, because I stand up and tell him I'm getting ready to go because I just remembered, and I'm trying to be as nice as I can. And he kind of walks by. He's a bigger guy than me. And he stands in front of the door and he holds it kind of closed. He's like, I didn't scare you, did I? I was like, no, you didn't scare me, not at all. I would love to stay. I would love to stay. And I talked my way out of it. It was very challenging for me. I was very, very scared. So, of course, I went home. He said, you're going to still work for me, aren't you? And I said, absolutely. I need the extra job. He's like, working for me, you don't have to worry about your hair length and stuff like that. Because at this time, I don't know where I was working. Couldn't have been the masonry or my first job. This had to be moved on a little bit. Maybe when I was working, at Fusion Coatings, where they didn't mind so much about, guys or whatever, anybody having longer hair, Maybe that's where it was. I don't remember exactly where I was working on top of it. This was somehow a fill-in job. So I knew I didn't really need it, but I wanted that. I wanted to make extra money. I wanted time to digest all of this, maybe talk about it with somebody. Well, can I tell you something? I never said anything to anybody at all. After that, I was so scared to talk about it to my girlfriend and her mother and stuff. The next time that I went back, whether it was later that week or what have you, he called me, are you going to come? I said, absolutely, I'm going to come. And I ended up going over there in his house. And it was sometime during the day, and he actually invited friends over. And to me, especially knowing everything that I know now looking back, it was 100% that they were either partners or they were into same-sex, and fantasy kind of play. I was not ready for that at this time. You will find out later on in life I was, and I am. But at this time, no. Okay? So I was very nervous. Same thing. I made excuse. I gotta go. And I went back. Then I talked to my girlfriend at the time and her mother, and I explained this. You want to know something? They laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed about this. When he called at their place, I don't know why or how I got the number. Somehow he used to ask a lot of questions in a small time that I worked for him. Lucky to be a week. In a small time that I worked for him, he was good. He got numbers out of all kinds, whether it was my application maybe. I don't know how it was, but he got my girlfriend's number. And I remember being so scared about that. And her mom answered and started laughing and saying, this is who it was. It's your boss. And I said, I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to answer it. Long story short, I ended up answering it. And I told him, I said, I have to quit. Something came up. Sorry, I have to quit. So I ended up quitting. I can't remember too much after that. I did have to obviously go back and get my last paycheck, and I was a nervous wreck to do it. I think I had somebody with me at that time to do it. Horrible experience for me at that time. Struggling with all this. I gotta be honest with everything I've been told. You don't want to be gay, because if you're gay, you are everything imaginable that is horrible. And I'm not saying you are. No. I did just the opposite. Just the opposite. I learned a lot since then, okay? And that's why I'm sharing my life story. So, of course, I dabbled and I fooled around with different people, teasing them. A lot of teasing. When I knew that guys were attracted to me. I am a big flirt, even to this day. Only I don't get scared. If I'm flirting with a guy that I'm attracted to, much different than if somebody's stalking me, okay? Much different. So I dabbled back and forth with this, and now we're gonna get into my music career. When I started doing my music, can I tell you? I was surprised when guys would come up to me, and I would think, I'm putting on this masculine presentation. Notice, I wanna try to get away from this guy and female. I wanna get away from that. I wanna talk about femme and masculinity. So I'm trying to put on a masculine, more manly, okay, from this time forward, I'm going to talk masculine and femme. Masculine meaning man, more manly, and femme meaning more female. Maybe even more femme than a female, okay, sensitive, very sensitive, soft, graceful, gentle spirit. So I'm trying to put on a masculine presentation because basically the whole world around me has told me, you better be a man. That's the only way you're going to make it. So I mentioned about how I learned how to fight. I learned all these different things. I'm getting involved in more manlier jobs. I'm finding out really quick, this does not work for me. Not me. Nope, I should be pampered, really. Like a baby. Baby girl. So specifically, I got to meet one gentleman that would regularly come to my shows. At the time, I was meeting with like the radio DJ that I talked about in other recordings. And can I tell you something? There was something about him when he talked to me. I felt safe. Safe that no matter what happened between the two of us, nothing is going to be said. I was kind of attracted to him because he was also reminding me of more Mennonite, Amish kind of background. So he loved bluegrass a lot. So this is, and listen, I hope this doesn't hurt or offend anybody, but he reminded me more of a farm boy kind of personality, very soft and gentle. So, and he had a mustache. And there was something about him. He had a great sense of humor, so his jokes, and he could sing. He could sing bluegrass. He loved it. And he was very talented at this. Now, he's older, too, so I do like older men. I love all guys, but older men I've always been attracted to. I sat at the bar with him one time, and next thing you know, he mentioned about going home with him. He lived not too far away. And it was not uncommon for me when I was in the music industry, in the music business, doing my shows, that I would get invited to all kinds of parties, or if we'd close down the bar and hang out there for a couple hours. Some people lived upstairs from the bar next door. Some people lived right down the street. There was always parties and things going on all the time. To be honest with you, there's a lot of times I really don't want to be a part of that stuff. I really want to do it as a business, go to work and kind of get out, make friends, hang out for a while. But I really wanted to get away from the drinking and any kind of drugs and all that stuff, which I talked about in other videos. So this guy ends up inviting me to his place. We drove our vehicles over. I followed him over. And you know what? I gotta say, from what I remember, looking back in my mind, it's the first time in my whole life, so now this is in my 20s, early 20s, this is the first time that I actually remember reflecting back, other than maybe the motorcycle ride that I took, that I actually decided I'm going to go most of the way. So much that as our relationship was developing, I took protection with me. I started keeping protection with me because I realized I'm getting to the point in my life, please always be safe. And I know you might not want to hear that, please always be safe. You really cannot trust other people no matter what it is. If somebody says, you know what, I'm clean, you don't have to worry about diseases, you don't have to worry about this, that, and the other. Let me tell you something, always self-protect. That's number one. Rule number one, always protect yourself. So I didn't know this guy from Adam, and the bottom line is I started prepping up, and you can imagine how scared I was. Even my girlfriend at the time, I don't really remember using protection with her. That was rare for me, and it was reckless. It was reckless. But the bottom line is, when I was in a committed relationship, I never thought, like I realize now, I never thought that the person I'm in a relationship with would ever cheat on me, and vice versa. It was never in my heart to do that. I really wanted to have a faithful, committed. If we explore and we do things together, that's okay. Now, I can't remember which happened first. So I'm going to tell you this story, and then I'm going to bounce back. I don't know if it happened first or after. But anyway, so now I'm starting to become equipped. Shh, don't tell anybody. Tracilyn is ready to start exploring. And can I tell you something? Because I practiced with my toys off and on throughout my life, I pretty much knew what to do. And it was an amazing experience. He was very gentle with me, very patient, very understanding. The thing is he had a lot of desire to be with me now. He really wanted to be with me. He was impressed because the performer that I was, all this stuff, but now he wanted to be with me, and I gotta be honest. I'm not going to be in an open relationship with a guy, okay, at that time. I'm not going to do it. because number one, I think at that time I may or may not have had my child through a parent that was very much against that, you know. Because, and I'm going to tell you why she was against it, so much that I had taken pictures of myself somehow in lingerie. When I started my career, I started also, because I had digital camera, you know, you start getting a hold of this equipment, we all know, you start exploring, you want to see what you look like no matter what walk of life you're on, you know. So she had pictures, and she was ending up showing people at my shows, creating all kinds of drama in my life, okay. Very bad experience, and I didn't want that coming back to haunt me, because now it was found out, and we made a commitment between the two of us. Nobody needs to know what we do behind closed doors. So I saw him a few times, and I really got to be honest with you, very femme spirit. I want to be more girly, so much that I started wearing some girl clothes underneath my regular clothes. When I would go over to him, he didn't like it. You ever meet that? You ever try to scratch your head? And I'm thinking to myself, why don't you like it? You like me, don't you? And he didn't. Let me tell you something. I've learned this through my explorations. A lot of guys that are attracted to, whether it's a femme guy, or if they're attracted to different guys or whatever, there are a large portion of the guys, they really don't want to be with a transgendered lady. Okay, if they want to be with a lady, so they say, a lot of times their comment will be, then I'll just be with a genetic girl. I'm not going to be with a transsexual female, okay? So understand, this is challenging, very challenging walk for me. It's not easy, okay, being a transsexual lady. So this was really bothering me, because now I'm really starting to shave, I'm doing all this other stuff, and I'm doing it because of our encounters. And I'm really trying to give him a great illusion or a great experience, but he's not wanting it. I want the hair back on your leg. I want you to be you, is what he was. But can I tell you, anybody who says, well, why don't you be you? Let me tell you something, that wasn't me. It wasn't me at all. Remember, I was just talking about puberty? It isn't me. I never wanted hair on my body. I can't help that. I was born with it, or not born with it, but it grew on me. But I knew I always wanted to remove it as soon as possible. Okay, so I took my steps doing this. So of course this pushes me away, and I told him, I said, you know, this is me. This is really me. I didn't understand it though. I really did not understand what was going on. So of course there was kind of a little bit of resentment, because he wanted me to be as he wanted me to be, rather than just accepting who I was. And I was really afraid that my career was going to be jeopardized, so I kind of separated from that. And I really tried very hard to stay good friends with him through the process. And finally, I got frustrated, because he was very forceful in the fact that, look, I want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. Not like that. If you don't like me, I already knew. I'm already going through others. I didn't understand transsexualism, but I didn't understand a lot of other things. And let me tell you something. I'm going through this in my girl-on-girl relationships, you know, with the girls that I dated. I don't want to go through this with a man. You know, I am me. I am me. It's very important that we find ourselves ASAP and start being true to ourselves, so we network with the right people and they get to know who we are from day one. That's important for all of us. It took me forever to realize it. I don't know if it's going to rain or not. I'm going to start heading back just in case. Feel drizzle here and there. So also during this time, I'm not sure if it was during the time with him or right about the same time is what I'm thinking. When I was living on Lehman Street, I had my apartment upstairs. Just before the separation of my child's parent, we decided to share an encounter with someone very close to us, who was more close to myself. Let me tell you something, I was always scared of that, and even though I wanted to do it, you know, I enjoy doing things like that, it's scary for anybody who's what they call the swinging lifestyle, okay? If they want to call them orgies, if you will. And this is an educational video, so it's very important to me to be very open about this. And can I tell you that with her, we explored being with somebody who was very close to me, a guy. And he might not like this at all. I'm not saying who it is. I won't do that. I won't do that to anybody. But can I tell you, that the whole reason that I wanted to is, number one, I really liked him a lot, and friends, but I wanted to be closer to seeing and experiencing what it would be like to be close in an encounter like that with a man. Okay? He's a very good-looking guy. I didn't want to cross boundaries with him. I wanted to experience it differently. And let me tell you something, I don't want to ride too much about that, you know, but it is what it is. And, you know, I'm being honest. I want to get closer. I want to get closer. Now I have my opportunity. I'm with a man. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Now I want to come out and start wearing lingerie and stuff. I'm ready to go, you know, and he's putting on the brakes saying, I don't think so. You know, I want that masculinity. He wanted some masculinity in there. And I'm like, it's not me. It's not me. And the more I was into the music, and I'm telling you, and I'm drinking more. I'm drinking more. Okay? I am drinking a lot more because I am really struggling with this. Now I know 100% for sure it's not just the toys I enjoy being with. It's, man, wow, what do I do about this in a world that is beating me up over, or all of us? It has to be boy, girl, boy, girl. It can't be boy, boy, or girl, girl. It has to be one way, you know, one way, that's it. And where does that stem from? Religious values. Yes, yes. Religion came into the picture many years ago. And what a mess that is. Let me tell you what, it's messed up a lot of things for a lot of lives, with a lot of people, even with just this subject. Not to mention marriages that just really are unhealthy, and it takes people a long time before they realize it. And I know if you're a Christian or you're into religion, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm being honest. Okay? In Christianity, since that's what I mainly was dabbled in throughout my life and got saturated in, and it messed up my mind, and I tell you that in their faith, if you focus on Jesus, the grace of Jesus, you're okay, but they always say, but, repent from your sin. If you really believe in Jesus, stay away from it. And let me tell you something, everything in life that makes sense to do and is pleasurable is a sin. That's what I've come to the conclusion as. I have a lot to talk about with that. I know some of you right now, you're getting upset. We don't like what we're hearing. Sorry, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I dabble with this off and on throughout my music career. I started realizing that, you know what, I can't take it anymore. I hit rock bottom. A girl came into my life. She took me into, LCBC. You know, I was overtaken by the music there, especially. I looked forward to going to it. It was like a free concert. It's starting to rain. It's going to pour. I have to probably wrap this up. I'm going to be soaked. Oh. I better do it now. My camera's getting wet. I want to talk more about this. So remember, now we're up to with my last girlfriend, unless I remember bouncy ball moments. And we're going to start talking about how I changed my whole image to be very Christian-oriented. My idea of what is pretty standard, you know, very professional, which both are the same. Christian boy look, the professional look, very close to pretty much the same. I got a long ways to go. I'm gonna be soaked, so I gotta hide this. All right, I found shelter. Look at this. Tree with leaves. Keeps the rain off of me. I was beginning to talk about, before this got interrupted, I want to keep things moving along. So I apologize for that. It happens sometimes. So I'm starting to mess around with people at my shows, and then I was saying I got to meet my last girlfriend that I ever dated. Okay, we were a serious relationship for a while. I was very drawn to her because of her beauty, because of her sensitive spirit. She had a very childlike mentality. Also, my dog started bringing out my childlike mentality as well. You know, I could play now again with somebody, wrestle with them, you know? I could pretend to be an animal. I could pretend to be anything with him, and he loved me so much. We were like two children, okay? Now I get to meet her, and she's very similar to that, you know? I don't remember her pretending to be an animal or anything, but we used to come up and down here. rollerblading, riding bike, okay? All kinds of things. We love sharing quality time together. Now we have God in common. Christianity's idea of God, okay? The church that we attended to's idea of God. Okay, the same place that says we're here to share the gospel. I want to talk about this, and I did talk about it. I touched base with a little bit of it backhand on a couple other videos. I don't want to keep bringing it up, but as I'm going there, I'm coming back and forth here. Sometimes on a Sunday, because I played definitely every Friday and Saturday, some Sundays. I always try to get off Sunday now because I'm going to church on a regular basis. Not only am I going to church, remember, I also started dabbling in watching ministries on television or on the computer. I mean, I was saturating myself with all this stuff. So I'm walking back and forth. Basically, the actuality of it is I'm talking to myself. But I'm thinking I'm talking to a God out there somewhere. A God who I want to have, or so I'm told, is desiring a relationship with me. Nobody else wants a relationship with me besides my girlfriend and my dog. Maybe, wouldn't that be awesome? If this mysterious God of everything all of a sudden desires to have a relationship with Tracilyn? Fantastic. Let's do it. What can I do? How can I get closer to you? I'll tell you how you get closer to it. You look in the mirror, you smile, and you realize it's you. You want a relationship with yourself. You want to accept yourself. We all do. We're not taught that, though, unfortunately, most of us. Hopefully more and more people, but we're not really taught that. We're taught an idea standard of who all mankind should be, especially in the professional field. And where does that all stem from? Religion. Control and oppress the minds of other people, submit them and get them into an idea, a majority, the masses, if you will. And guess what? It's going to be tough for other people, even if they're scratching their head wondering, why don't I feel comfortable in this idea image everyone is trying to guide me to? Because that's what it ends up happening. They're trying to guide you. This has already been out there and we're all kind of walking. Try to get it right. Try to get it right. Dealing with the same similar issues throughout our life for different reasons. Can be a very frustrating and very lengthy process that many people never get in their life journey. Very sad. I am so sad to hear that. Let me tell you something. Instead of focusing on my musical career, I started focusing on my relationship with God. Never knowing it was myself that I was seeking a relationship with. So I'm sharing a lot of time back here. Now I have one of the most amazing girls in my life to share life with. I'm starting to join life groups and all this other stuff. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but at this church I got to meet a gentleman who I found out, I was led there, that he was hosting a class on an off night, off time if you will, from church service, that basically he rebelled in life, so he ended up becoming gay out of rebellion, but then he got it right with God. Let me tell you something. In the world's idea of gay, it's same-sex people together. Okay? That's what gay is. Whether it's a lesbian, gay, there's all kinds of titles. And I say remove the title. Period. We're all of the same substance. We just been taught division and separation ever since birth into this world, this whole idea of who we all should be. And you're going to be a boy or you're going to be a girl. And if you're going to be a boy or a girl, this is who you got to like. You have to. You can't change that. It's written right here. Look, you're a sinner. Okay? Well, that's not here in the professional where we don't go by those guidelines. Well, it's already too late because everybody's mind is contaminated with these beliefs. And slowly we're starting to wake up and realize that, oh wow, we don't have to live this way. Because it's ridiculous. Okay? It's ridiculous. all we all want to do is, which I'm learning through other wisdom that has come my way and my own life experiences, is we want to find out who we are in our heart and be honest with ourselves. Now we want to accept it despite what is going around us. And we accept that, and we want to just share our life with other people who appreciate us. Celebrate life together. Okay? Whatever the reason is. Okay? This was my main struggle because everyone around me is programmed under these belief systems. Even though they might be in disagreement a little bit, there's something in our mind struggling with this. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. You don't. Well, you know, Jesus, I believe that Jesus was this, that, and the other, but the truth of the matter is, you know, he was a good philosopher and this, that, and the other, but the reality of it is I don't believe the same beliefs that Christians do, blah. So there's a lot of arguing back and forth about all this stuff. It's horrible. It's very horrible. Let me tell you something. You don't have to share too much time alone on a city street evaluating it, seeing how the world around you operates. For instance, I'm going to bring this up again. No matter where I'm walking out here, in my memory, whether I recall it like a computer, I call it back up, and I remember how to get to my car, or I don't. Okay? I should say that I remember how to get back to my car. The bottom line is there's something in my memory here. How it operates, I don't know, but very much like the computer. And the bottom line is it doesn't matter what I'm thinking. And listen, I studied all kinds of things, okay, about the power of energy, power of positive thinking, all this stuff. But it does not matter what I think, what I do, if I'm praying to God, asking His help, as long as I'm walking to the car. And I can take any way I want to go to get to that car. I just need to know where I'm going and then apply energy, action in that direction. Okay? If the world's round, I guess evidently I could walk the opposite of it for a long time and end back up at my car. Oh, here it is. Okay? Sailing around the world. It's very frustrating when we start to realize little things like that. Okay? Unfortunately for me, my mind might not be as developed or maybe as knowledgeable in a lot of other things, but because I took many years of my life to study the subjects that I've been talking about, and I'm hoping someday to organize it and share with you guys. But right now I want to share my life journey. With this girl, I go to that classroom, and I knew it was a bunch of BS right away. I could just tell with the subjects that it's talking about. I didn't really care for the class, so I kind of left. You know, and I remember our conversation together where at the end of the class, the only time that I went there, or the second time that I went there, I told him, I said, you know, I can read your body language and everything. I believe from just evaluating you that you're denying yourself, and you're doing it because you got involved in the laws of that Bible. You know, and I don't want to get too heavy about somebody else's life. If he's right, whatever track he's on, because I do believe that sometimes, you know, more so than maybe not, I don't know, there are situations where people do rebel, or they do it because their friends are now doing it. I'm hanging out with my gay friends, and I don't want to say this is a negative thing, but I'm hanging out with people that are considered gay, and I want to be gay too because I want to fit in. That's wrong. Don't do it. Don't do it. Be true to you, not your friends. Be true to you, not God out there somewhere. Be true to you. The rest will start, hopefully, to fall in place at some point. But I'll tell you what, because of all the teachings about being more graceful, being more forgiving, being more merciful, and I can go on and on and on, that is of a very femme energy, a very femme spirit, okay? Because you're not being demanding, you're not shouting obscenities, right? The reaction is of the Holy Spirit as it's living inside of you is to be a very soft, walk in love, graceful, gentle, Okay? So understand, meanwhile, I'm back here. I'm becoming more forgiving, more gentle, more soft. I'm still struggling with everything. But can I tell you something? I do know that it also worked in my favor. There's no doubt about it. Because I was reading this book, okay, the Bible, and I read many versions of it. I'm trying to figure it all out. I don't have them all written down here now, and I kind of let things pass by the forefront of my mind just because I want to live in my reality, the real world, so to speak, instead of the escape of illusion. And I took a lot of classes, all this stuff, all these books that we're reading and all these programs, and I mean, I'm saturating my mind with it. It's like plugged in, like network, into your computer, into your friend's computer. It's there. And all day long, that's all I'm listening to. And I want a better life. I really want, whatever that is, better life. Meanwhile, I'm changing. I am changing. Okay? Because I believe that throughout my life, I was the problem. I never was the problem. Very seldom. When I got smart with people, I became the problem. That wasn't the problem. We're all of us, programmed since birth, through the media, through people's generations of religious beliefs that were stemmed from all kinds of craziness. All kinds of craziness. Not just one religion. All kinds of philosophy and theories about life. Even with mine. Let me tell you something. Do not believe everything that comes out of my mouth. Do not fall in agreement with everything that comes out of my mouth. Let's work through this together and try to figure things out, because something's not right if I can't live in this world being true to myself and have friends, have a partner, have a job. Okay? Safe place to live. Okay, there's simple things in life that we all appreciate. Somebody just got shot. No, that was actually, there's small game seasons going on right now. So understand, I'm saying these things because it's so true. I don't want to get too heavy in this, so now I'm becoming gentle, I'm becoming soft, I'm becoming forgiving to the world around me. And can I tell you something? I'm still not understanding. Why do I feel like I'm being taken advantage of all the time? It's not, I'm scratching my head. I don't want to be mean to people. Now I want to be as sweet as pie. You know? I'm not worried about fights because nobody's wanting to fight me anymore, but I'll tell you what. Oh, some of the stories I have to share with you. And I'm going to try to just stick with the transgendered. But let me tell you something. The more graceful, the more forgiving, all the things that I told you about, which they call the fruits of the Spirit. Can I tell you what? The world around you will also recognize that, and they will fully take advantage of the situation. Horrible. Horrible. I have some stories to share with you. And it is, people will say, well, why do you feel like it's the whole world around you that's attacking you? And it's because it is. A very soft, very gentle spirit trying to survive in this world. I'm talking very, very femme, overly femme. You got to kind of switch it off and go kind of the opposite way, and it's a very painful process because you realize you really love who you are. You finally get to that point, you're kissing the mirror and saying, this is great, and the world around you saying, you better toughen up because I'm about ready to bulldoze you over, steamroll you. Okay? That's the way it is. And I'm looking forward to sharing that part of my life with you. So let me tell you something. You want to be as loving as possible. But remember, you want to love yourself first. Not God out there somewhere first. You want to love yourself first. And loving yourself first is going to tell you, no, I'm not interested in doing that. Oh, well, you're this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, all you care about is yourself. I care about myself first. First. You got to know yourself first so that you can make your choices in life, yes and no. And let me tell you something, if you end up telling somebody no and it turns them away from you, good. Because they were not meant to be in your life. Okay? And basically, the whole book of Christianity is about philosophy. It's a philosophy of life. I mean, you can, now once you line your mind up with your heart, and you start applying a lot of the theology within it, if that's a word, Now, all of a sudden, things start to kind of line up a little bit better. But I'll tell you right now, out of all the places that I've listened to, they don't teach you that. They don't want to teach you that. Because as long as God is out there and everything's out there, you're going to be stumbling and falling, and for the rest of your life, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. More so than not, you're not going to get it. I'm so sorry. I want you to get it. Know yourself. Stay true to you. Forget what everybody else thinks. Immediately. Immediately. If a job doesn't want to hire you because of the way you look, then you go, I mean, if you want to take legal action on it, do it. If you feel that that's something for you to do. But let me tell you something. Then that's not a job for you. Go get another job where they appreciate who you are, okay? Very important. Corporations have taken over. And they have policies. And if you don't follow within those policies and guidelines, guess what? You don't have a job. Yes, try to live in a world without a job. When this world, the main source is money. Oh, horrible, horrible. Horrible, especially if you're going by the grace, mercy, and everybody else around you. Because they're going to look at you and tell you, well, you did it to yourself. You wanted to be you. Okay? 1 foot in the world, 1 foot being yourself. You got to figure out a way. It's all up to you now. Oh, yes. Where are people, God's people, when you need them? I'll tell you where they are. In the buildings, being a bunch of hypocrites. Honestly. Judging everybody else. Oh, I have stories for you. Stories for you. Yes. Yes. I've got stories for you. Now, we're talking about me being a transsexual and coming out. I want to get through 2006, 2009. So we got down to the spirit. That sensitive spirit has also worked to my benefit because it helped me tap in. I'm just naturally becoming femme and more 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 femme. Now I'm with the internet and I'm watching the adult movies, and my girlfriend is noticing that. Notice I brought this up earlier about she found me with the transsexual films, and she's really hurt over this. She's really hurt. It was one thing to joke around about me being a girl possibly, but it's a whole nother story when it comes down to the point of now I'm seeing you watching this. What she perceived, and listen, she perceived it more as a kind of a, I don't want to hurt anybody's, remember, I'm a transsexual lady, more of like a freak show. What are you doing? Why are you interested in this? And she's a great person. Uneducated, a lot of us are uneducated in this, okay? So, I'm gonna walk down here. We got a group of people coming, so I want to kind of keep the camera over here. Because I'm going through this, and now she stumbles across this. Notice I don't stop. I don't stop with this. Actually, I'm starting to connect with people online in chat rooms. I'm starting to do a lot of, with my cam. I'm starting to talk to some major network systems where you could go on and you can talk to people with your clothes off or your clothes on. It didn't matter. And it was all about respect. When you go into these rooms, you got to respect people. Because if you don't, they can, did you ever get this, booted out because you said something? or because you did something, that really offended somebody, so they can get you booed out because they know the person who's monitoring that room. So let me say that now I'm getting to see all sorts of things. And I'm starting to really dig deep and get curious, and I'm finding out there's gay websites out there. I like men. I'm still not figuring out that, listen, respectfully I say this, that gay men are not attracted to girls, or they would be with girls and not gay men, okay, or be with other men. That whole labeling system is, I guess it's helpful, but I'll tell you what, it just makes things kind of icky sometimes, I don't mean no offense with that, it does, because now I have to walk through life as a transsexual lady. I have to let people know right up front, I'm a transsexual lady because, once you find out anyway, you're going to find out if we get intimate. Okay? It can be a nightmare. It can be a nightmare. It can be a nightmare, especially while working with places, different facilities. No education, people. It's time for education. Okay? In our schools, Everywhere. Everywhere. It's time for education. You get a job. And like myself, I've been very fortunate. Okay? Me, the entertainer. I can tap into a whole bunch of different personalities, if you will. I can carry myself very good. Okay, no problems. I could get through my life, probably. If I move somewhere else, nobody ever knows me, change my name, whatever I could do. Let me tell you something, get along all right, but eventually something's going to come along. And no matter how you're far in relationships, no matter how far you are with your career, some JA is going to come along and destroy your whole life. Because they're going to out you. Okay? And the bosses are going to freak out and everybody's going to think you're lying to them and hiding everything. You hid that from me. Tracilyn, you hid it. Why didn't you lay it out on the table the day you filled out that application so I knew? Oh, what kind of world do we live in? If in 2013 we're still struggling with something as simple as this. Really? Wake up time. Wake up. Wake up. Education. It's time to be educated. Thank goodness for the internet. So I go onto this gay website. Actually, I want to tell you, gay.com. And I get to post a picture of me in my thong onto the internet as my profile picture. That's letting the whole world know I like it, you know where. And guess what? Guys are really into me. They want to meet with me, all kinds of things. I'm thinking this is great. The only problem is they don't want what they call a bottom girl. They don't want a bottom girl. They want a top. And I don't want to get a whole lot. Basically a top. I'm going to tell you right now. We're only describing this one. Bottom girl takes it in the butt. And a top pretty much gives it in the butt. Okay? This is, I don't want to get too technical. The educational video, by the way. And let me tell you something. I'm a bottom girl. Bottom girl, because even in the transsexual community, it's got to be made very clear. People talk all these codes. They want to talk all these codes. Okay? Try to make it easier to understand. People want to get down right to it. What are you? Well, we got to dissect. I'm a transsexual lady bottom. You know, girl, and I can go into even more detail than that. You know, you could be pre-op, post-op, all this different stuff. It's very confusing, but people want to know basically everything about you before we can get together, because I want to be with the right match, even if it's 4 or 5 minutes. Oh, how complicated this could be. I didn't know. And I didn't know I was a transsexual at this time, so check this out. Now my bottom is shown to the world. Not my face, but my bottom. Now I'm starting to go out and I'm starting to buy skirts, my own skirts and stuff. Okay? And I'm starting to take more pictures and I'm putting them up, and guess what? Guys aren't liking it. You're on the wrong website. Sorry, guys. I'm on the wrong website. Okay? And guess what? One day I'm on this computer, my computer at home, and all of a sudden I see a girl that kind of looks like me. I'm going to stop right there and take back to a time I went to see a band called Back in Black with AC. It's a tribute to AC/DC. I saw them in Reading at what used to be called the Silo. And let me tell you something. We were walking around with me and this beautiful girl that I met. Same reasons I was hanging out with her. And I got to meet somebody very unique. I wasn't 100% sure, but I'm going to tell you straight up. It was either a cross-dresser, a transvestite, or a transsexual. I did not know. Okay, even still to this day, sometimes you just don't know. There's so many different labels. It's so challenging to figure all this out. And some people can be really offended, hurt, sensitive to you asking a simple question. You know, by the way, are you a cross-dresser? Let me tell you something. If you're a full-time, part-time transsexual, let me tell you something. You're gonna hurt their feelings if you ask them if they're a cross-dresser. Please don't use that as a weapon to hurt people, okay? I'm telling you, this is very challenging for somebody to learn. I want to help you learn the right way. Okay, I really do. I've learned enough about the basics that I'm here. I know I have what it takes to help a lot of people. So I got to meet her. I didn't ask her, but I sure did stare at her. It's not because I wanted to be with her. I really wanted to talk to her. So bad. And if she ever stumbles across this video, she may not have no clue who I am. But it was in Reading. It was in my 20s, and I'll tell you what. AC/DC music playing in the background, and I was like, I got to meet this person, talk, but I was too scared. So anyway, now we're getting back into my office, on my computer, my music career, and now what am I doing on my time off? Okay, I'm starting to be more single, I guess you could say. So I met this girl online, I saw her picture, and I instantly, you know, you're in the privacy of your room, so guess what? Instantly, I'm typing, I'm like, please, I'm almost jumping out of my seat. Please don't think that I'm trying to flirt with you or I want anything from you. I really, really want to talk to you. You know, and I'm trying to reassure her that I am not like there preying on anybody. I really want to get educated. I mean, that's really the whole reason I'm there. I want to attract guys to me and I want to get educated. I didn't know where to go. I'm stumbling with this. Somebody help me. And guess what? We got talking. I shared a little bit with her. She gave me some kind of account. You know what she told me right away? She said, oh, honey, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not gay. You're a girl. And instantly, I fell down to my knees and I started to cry at my desk. I do that a lot, you know. I cried. Me? Is it possible? Could I be a girl? And what she did is she gave me a website. I'm going to tell you. Okay? That was for transgender, a networking place for people with open minds for the transgendered community. Okay? It's called You're Not Alone. If you're alone, okay, don't go there to prey on people. Okay? I'm giving this information because it's very important that whatever age you are, as long as you're at the legal age, okay, that you go get to know other people. I can't answer everything. But I'll tell you what, right now, getting involved with the gay website and then now transgender website, let me tell you something, it's just as confusing there. It was a horrible experience trying to network and get to know information. I had to learn myself all this stuff, and I'm telling you right now, even amongst the LGBT community, there's a lot of stuff that is not factual in accordance with reality, and I know that may hurt or upset people. I don't mean to do that. Give me a chance to share my whole life story, okay? Well, I've learned the hard way, okay? You can't believe everything that you hear, and you can't believe everything that you see. Everybody's at a different state of mind up here. You really got to take time to get to know yourself and be honest with yourself. You like wearing skirts and dresses, put it on. Have a good time, okay? That's the bottom line. Just have fun with it. Be safe. Be safe. So she takes me to this website, and guess what? At that time, which I don't have that account anymore, can I tell you that I didn't know what name to give myself as a username, and by that time I'm a member of all kinds of websites and instant messaging programs and stuff, and I'm thinking of all kinds of crazy stuff because I'm still scared with, I don't want anybody to recognize me when I go online, so I'm creating these weird names, usernames to go on. Can I tell you something? I wanted to use my real name. That way if people see that I'm there, hello, we might have met years ago, now we can meet here. Okay? I want to be open with my life. So what I did is I took the name of my first girlfriend and the name of my last girlfriend. I brought them together, spelled much differently than what I am now, Tracilyn. I named myself, by the way. And I'm very grateful I did. I love the name. I'm proud of the name. It has deep meaning to me. Okay? I got a lot of grief because I changed my last name first. So you'll find out at the time when I became a musician, I started using my first name and my middle name. I did not like my last name. It just, throughout my whole life, the reason why I don't like it, people think it has to do with my birth father. It has nothing to do with that. Oh, okay. It has some to do with it. Okay, it does have maybe 30% to do with it. Because remember, I wanted an Italian name someday. All right? I knew at a very young age I didn't want my last name. And you know why the big reason was? It wasn't because I was running from anything. Or I didn't want to be recognized as a child of, which you're going to find out, was pretty mean to me. I'll be sensitive with that. Be nice about it. Kind of mean to me, you know, when I came out. Which I got to share that here real quick. I went to my first and my middle name because of this reason. The last name, everybody stuttered with it. The teachers, all the kids. I got picked on a lot. It used to be aren't. Okay? So people would say are not. You know? I aren't, you know, my first name. Okay? And you can find out more about me. Maybe I'll let it slip out here. It's on my other YouTube page. Check it out. You don't have to look very far. I'm very open about my life. I'm not going to keep spilling the beans, though, because I want you to remember I am now Tracilyn, and that's very important that you recognize that. You can tease me, harass me if you want to. Make comments down below. That's okay. I got a good heart about it. Now I do. I didn't before.